Greetings. This is the one you've known as Jesus the Christ. Today I'd like to speak about the importance of telling the truth. By this I don't mean telling the ego's truth, as I've spoken about in other messages. Speaking the ego's truth, that is, giving voice to your ego's opinions, judgments, criticisms, and other negativity, is not speaking the truth, but quite the opposite. Because the ego's view of the world and what it has to say about things is rarely the truth or even close to the truth. I trust that you've listened to enough of my messages that you understand what I'm saying. The voice in your head, which is the ego's truth, is full of half-truths, lies, and negativity, and you would all be better off if you never listened to it or gave voice to it. Having said this, speaking the truth and not telling lies is very important. It's important to your soul, and it's important in maintaining a democracy, which cannot be sustained if those in power lie. That, you could say, is the difference between a benevolent government, be it a democracy or otherwise, and a malevolent government. Malevolent governments can only stay in power if they lie, if they pretend to be other than what they are, and lies are the very thing they use to gain power. So it's very important that you hold those in power accountable to telling the truth, to saying to the best of their ability what's truly happening, and in other ways sticking to the facts. I say to the best of their ability because everyone misspeaks at times. Everyone holds some mistaken beliefs and opinions. But when those beliefs or opinions are shown to be false, a person with integrity is willing to admit that, and that's the difference between someone you can trust and someone you can't trust. This is true in your relationships as well. You can forgive honest mistakes or misunderstandings on the part of others easily enough, but purposeful lying and deceit will kill any relationship if done long enough and engaged in to cover up important matters, since trust is essential in sustaining relationships. And just to be clear, I'm not saying you should be bluntly honest with others, for example, about your ego's opinion of how someone looks if you don't like how they look. Always be kind, even if being kind seems dishonest. Expressing that you're unhappy about something that can't be changed is unkind and a power play on the part of the ego. The ego doesn't like a lot of things, and giving voice to those things, especially if they can't be changed, is simply being negative. And negativity won't get you love, and it won't help you to love and accept the other person. And trying to change others to fit your needs or desires, as the ego so often wants to do, by judging or criticizing them, is a fool's errand. It won't work, and only undermines any love between you. People only make an effort to change for you when they love you, and they'll only love you if you're kind to them. Kindness works in relationships. Any negativity you feel toward others is your problem, your ego's creation, and you need to take responsibility for that and do your best to set your judgments and criticisms aside, because these kill love. If what's bothering you is something that can be changed, then diplomatically negotiating with them might settle the issue. In instances where it would be unkind or impossible to try to get others to change, then white lies are perfectly acceptable, as you find a way within yourself to accept what you don't like. I hope it goes without saying that although acceptance is the way to a loving relationship, abuse from others is never acceptable, and action is needed to remedy that situation. For some, lying is a way of being and considered perfectly okay in their world, their amoral world. They're dedicated to doing whatever it takes to get what they want in life, And if that means lying, then it makes sense to them to lie. And they think others are foolish not to lie or do whatever they need to do to get what they want. Their God is their ego's desires. The end justifies the means is a dangerous tenet to live by, especially when the ends are selfish ones. And yet some souls do live by this or try to. These are usually sociopaths, and they can get quite far in life as they step over people on the way to the top. I've spoken about these individuals before, who are sometimes called service to self. Lying is how such self-serving individuals get to the top. Lying is integral to their way of life. They impress and manipulate people with the lies they tell about themselves and their accomplishments. Honest people are easily fooled by sociopaths because most people don't consider lying to be an option, and lying is penalized by society. However, sociopaths have an abundant amount of chutzpah, as they say, and often lie and cheat their way out of any trouble they find themselves in with the law, because not only are they not opposed to lying, but they're not opposed to breaking the law. These two things go hand in hand, chronic lying and criminal activity. Show me a chronic liar, and I will show you a criminal. Chronic liars go deeper and deeper into lawlessness, and often drag others down with them. They tamper with evidence and witnesses, and obstruct justice in other ways. This is not news to you. You've seen this time and time again in your cops and robbers movies, and in real life. It's a good sign that the movies always end with the criminals being caught and held to account. It would be a very bad sign if movies did not end this way. And it's a very bad sign when this starts happening in the real world. This is how dictatorships come into power and are maintained. As I said, lying is the main way that unscrupulous people gain power in your world. It's how lower astral beings gain power in your world through channels and psychics. The playbook is the same on the astral plane as it is in the third dimension, except that those on the astral plane have an advantage in having more knowledge and tools to manipulate and fool human beings. Those on the astral plane often work with those who are psychic, who are running the same kind of cons. More commonly, however, innocent channels and psychics unknowingly are pulled into the lies of those on the astral plane, and consequently those who listen to those channels and psychics are pulled in as well. It may surprise you, but much of the misinformation in your world begins with channels and psychics and spreads from there. Channels and psychics have a lot of power in your world, and some are being manipulated by negative entities in lower realms who pretend to be higher dimensional beings. Why are lower astral beings doing this? They don't believe in love and other principles that underpin democracy. They are service to self, and their view is that love is weak and gaining power is the way to improve one's existence. This is true within the lower astral realm, as the more power you have there, the less preyed upon you are by other service-to-self entities. But this is not ultimately true, of course, where love reigns. Service-to-self astral entities don't believe in love, and until they realize their faulty thinking, they will suffer in a hell of sorts on the astral dimension and will continue to create havoc in your world. This is just part of life on your planet. You are affected by negative entities on the astral plane, psychically and through the voice in your head, usually without your being aware of this, which is why I mention this. Knowledge is power, and I hope to empower you by helping you see what's going on so that you can make better choices about what you believe. Just because a channel says something doesn't mean it's true, even if the channel believes it. Other people believing something gives veracity to a belief. That's why you believe so much of what your ego says. Everybody else's ego, the voice in their head, is saying it too, and most believe what the voice in their head says. The same is true with much of the information you take as fact. You believe it because many others believe it. This phenomenon is particularly noticeable on social media, where anything that enough people believe or like passes as fact without question. And you have your so-called experts on social media claiming things that aren't true, and so are taken as true. If someone is seen as an authority, like a channel or psychic, then what they say is often accepted as true, even if it's not, and no one questions it. This is why you have what you call a scientific community. Scientists check each other and make sure that they, as respected experts, are not putting out unproven information. In science, information undergoes a great deal of scrutiny and testing before it's considered true. This kind of scrutiny and fact-checking is extremely important in a free society, so that those who would imprison you with cagey lies cannot do so. Lies are tricky. If there's even a little bit of truth in them, they seem completely true. A good liar or con artist always mixes truth with fiction and rarely relies on fiction alone. This is one of the tricks of the trade. Successful liars are also charming and affable. If they weren't, people wouldn't listen to them, and they know this. To get people's attention, liars learn to attract people in various ways. They gain their confidence by manufacturing credentials and boasting about themselves. They flatter others, pretend to have something they want, entertain them, learn to be good listeners, and make others feel good in other ways. The irony is that con artists often use kindness and friendliness to draw people in. They see others as suckers who can be manipulated with kindness. To them, kindness is just a means to an unkind end, the cheese in the trap. My intent in describing this negative situation is to help open your eyes to what's going on around you today. The lying is extremely dangerous. People who lack power and means are being scammed by people in power, people with political power. The scam is designed to make these individuals angry enough at others and the government to disregard the law and take up arms against their neighbors and government on behalf of those who are scamming them to gain or regain political power. This is going on. The solution is not obvious, but the first step is to be clear that this is going on and to understand that this is serious. A segment of your population is deeply deluded, angry and afraid, and some are deluded enough to become violent. Your vote is more important than ever because this battle for democracy is a political battle. I will end by saying that a good measure of truth is, by their fruits you will know them. By the fruits of what they're saying and teaching, you will know them. The fruits are the measure of their truth and value to you. If the beliefs you are investing in are not bringing you to a place of greater love and peace, then those beliefs are not worth holding. So many of the beliefs that people are investing in today are beliefs in a particular future, a lie about what the future will be. The future isn't set and can't be known, so don't fall into the trap of believing that you know what will happen. That's the mind's fantasy. You can't know. No one knows. Don't waste your energy this way. So much New Age philosophy is about the future. That should be a red flag. Or their beliefs about something going on behind the scenes which can't be verified. These are not useful beliefs. They don't improve your life, and they don't improve the world. They take you out of the present moment where love and peace reside. Conspiracy theories are thrilling and exciting to the mind which loves them, but there's very little truth to them, only enough to hook you. Don't feed the mind with them. Move out of the mind that loves drama and fantasy and into the present moment. Thank you for being willing to consider the ideas in this message. I am with you always.